Here's the Spurs News Roundup, providing all the latest top news, all in one place in the last 24 hours. Stay tuned to the very end to keep up to date. Also, further analysis on the stories. Let's get straight into it. If you're new, like and subscribe. So the Guardian Sport firstly report that Lord Ashcroft's son Andrew has bought £100 million worth of shares in Tottenham. He now owns 3.4% of the club. It's not clear if Lord Ashcroft has sold this percentage to his son or if the family have just doubled their stake in Spurs. Next, moving on though, a report from Ben Jacobs for Give Me Sport states that João Palhinha wants to stay in the Premier League when his loan at Tottenham comes to an end, and he hopes that Spurs will trigger his £27 million option to buy him. Player 900th legacy number, we've got Luca Williams-Barnett, one of our own, who come on the pitch in that win over Doncaster. He got 7 minutes, including stoppage time. Heung-min Son has told the W magazine in Korea that he hopes to have the chance soon to travel to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to say a proper goodbye to the Spurs supporters. Got some Tottenham ticket info then. AS Monaco versus Spurs in the UEFA Champions League, which is Matchday 3 of the Champions League, Stade Louis Stadium, Monaco. That firstly takes place on Wednesday the 22nd of October. It's a 9pm local time kickoff, so that's 8pm UK time. Allocation is just 998 on general admission, so below £1,000. The price is £34 and ticketing points is 5. Spurs win 3-0 against Doncaster and through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. Thomas Frank has described Pat Matasar's absence from the squad as a precaution against Doncaster. Spurs will travel to Newcastle United at St James's Park in round 4 of the Carabao Cup, the current holders of the competition. Luca Williams-Barnett has admitted that he is over the moon to have made his debut for Tottenham Hotspur. Luca Williams-Barnett said, "It's absolutely crazy. I just wanted to get on the ball and show what I could do in a Spurs shirt." Thomas Frank has insisted that he wants his Spurs side to become more dominant at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Frank said, "I thought we started well, created chances, opportunities, up 2-0, could have scored 1 or 2 goals more." Next, Fabrizio Romano, Italian journalist, reports that Manchester City are closing in on an agreement over a new deal for Savinha. Contract talks are advanced, final stages with Brazilian winger to stay at Manchester City for the long term. It follows City's decision to turn down 2 bids from Tottenham Hotspur in the summer. Next, Martin Lipton for the Sun Football reports that a US consultant has launched a world record £4.5 billion takeover for Tottenham Hotspur. They are offering £3.3 billion to buy out the entire club, with owners Enoch and the Lewis family. It'll be from both of them. The proposed new owners are ready to set aside a further £1.2 billion for player budget, which includes wages, fees and agent payments to be made available immediately to Thomas Frank from the opening of the January window. Alistair Gold via Football London reports that Luca Williams-Barnett has agreed terms on his first professional contract with Tottenham Hotspur, but that's not sealed until he can legally sign that deal on his 17th birthday this coming Wednesday. Thomas Frank spoke about maximising Lucas Bergwijl's potential in his press conference for the Wolverhampton Wanderers game, which is Tottenham's next game in the Premier League, Saturday 8pm kickoff UK time in the Premier League. Frank said, "Hopefully as high as possible. We need to maximise potential of every player. That is my most important task. How we maximise Lucas's potential. He's in full flow and full of confidence, which is a fantastic position to be in. He's adding more and more to his game." Thomas Frank has insisted that Tottenham Hotspur have to fly out the blocks against Wolves. Frank said, "This is a team the last 5 times we haven't been able to beat. We need to come flying out, be ready for it, have the fans behind us. They need to back us in every second of the game. I'm confident we will perform." Thomas Frank has given a little injury updates. Here we go. And this is again in his press conference. Pat Matasar is available to face Wolves after missing the Doncaster match. No Dominic Solanke or Rando Kailamawani. Both are still injured. Frank said the latest is that everyone that was available from the last league game is available again. In midweek, Pat Matasar was out as a precaution. He trained today, so that's a positive. Colin Wani's dead leg is dragging on. He'll be out for a few more days. It happened in training. I think Pat ran into him, so you have to blame Pape for that one. Dom is not available. It's not perfect, but we're going forward in the right direction. Next, the Athletic UK report that despite having a stake in Spurs, Daniel Levy has been barred from Hotspur Way since his departure from the club. Levy was sacked on September the 4th. He wasn't even allowed into Hotspur Way to retrieve his possessions, nor was his wife Tracy, who worked at the club until the day Levy was sacked. The club returned any of his belongings still at the training ground to him via a van. The Athletic UK report that the new look Tottenham board is set to meet for the first time, or did meet for the first time today since Daniel Levy's departure. Alistair Gold via Football London reports that Tottenham Hotspur have unequivocally rejected an informal expression of interest from a consortium headed up by the Brooklyn Eric, looking to take over the club in a £4.5 billion deal. Next, CEO Vinay Venkatesham is assembling a new executive leadership team at Tottenham Hotspur, which will consist of himself, Matthew Collison, and that will eventually be 6 other senior figures, including the newly appointed Chief Marketing and Chief Communications Officer. This is set to be the club's new model, designed to have power less centralised at the top. PA News Agency report that Tottenham Hotspur's owners are yet still to receive a new offer for the club, despite a report claiming that United States consortium has launched a £4.5 billion takeover deal. Any expressions of interest or bid must be lodged with the Takeover Code panel and made public, but PA understands that Lewis Family Trust has not been made aware of the consortium that is ready to buy Tottenham. Alistair Gold via Football London reports that Tottenham Hotspur sources close to the Lewis family who run Tavistock, the company behind ENIC, say the club is still not for sale. They're not changing that stance. The family believed to have received no bid from ERIC's consortium or expression of interest at this point. They've not received it, apparently. Thomas Frank has spoke about the preparations with the quick turnarounds. This is ahead of the Wolves game. Frank said having 2 days between games, I've done over 100 times in my career, but maybe not 300 times. Do we need that though? We have a clear process on how we want to do it, but we always have discussions on the little details. They're ongoing discussions, and there is not a one-size-fits-all matchday -1 preparation. Thomas Frank has spoke about João Palhinha's recent performances, and Frank said very happy with João. He's done very well for us, playing centre-back, and he's still doing very well. Really pleased with him. Thomas Frank was asked in particular about forward options, and Frank said right now it's very simple and very easy. Richie is playing well and doing well. I'm happy with Richie. He just needs to keep building and keep giving good performances. Thomas Frank spoke about Radu Dragosini's road to recovery. Frank said he's progressing well. He's been on the grass for 3 weeks now. He's on track. It'll be some weeks though before he'll be able to be involved again. Thomas Frank spoke about Luca Williams-Barnett's debut against Doncaster Rovers. Frank said, yeah, he's very happy. The first step is the most important thing in many ways, but there are many steps in front of him. Tottenham have released the following statement since we've recorded this video, saying the board of Tottenham Hotspur Limited is aware of recent media speculation and confirms its majority shareholder ENIC Sports and Developments Holdings Limited has received and unequivocally rejected an informal expression of interest in relation to a proposal to acquire the interest entire issued and to be issued share capital of the club from the consortium led by Mr. Brooklyn Eric. The board of the club and ENIC confirm that Tottenham Hotspur is not for sale and ENIC is not looking to sell its stake in the club. Fabrizio Romano has spoke about the latest given the latest, should I say, on a potential Tottenham takeover after reports to do with the US consortium in planning a world record kind of bid for the club. Fabrizio Romano, the Italian journalist, said, I'm not a big fan of commenting about rumours of takeovers. It's better to talk when something is really concrete. There we go. That is it. That's your headlines. Let's get into them then. We'll pick out the key ones and go through most of them anyway. So, what should we start with? It's like, yeah, Palhinha, I think it's been a very good signing. There's a question whether we sign him permanently or not, and whether that would be the right thing to do, because he looks very good. For me, it's all about how much you can get out of him. If you say to him, of course, you've got this season on loan. Let's say you get 2 good years out of him, sign him with a 2-year deal, I'm all for that, but we've got to be thinking about the longer term, and there are better players, not just better players is harsh, but there are better long-term options on the market. Carlos Baleba, Adam Walton, to name a few, but João Palhinha I really like. I'm really glad we bought to the club, really good bit of business for the club. I'm not against signing him permanently, however, you feel like that's the short-term option. Class player, but you just got to look at his age, but he's only early 30s, a lot of people seem to think he's mid-30s. Big moment for Luca Williams-Barnett, as I'm sure it was his family. A really proud moment to see him get on the pitch, so absolutely delighted for him on that one. Heung-min Son said it was to return back to Tottenham Stadium. Proper goodbye, that'd be nice. We did see a lovely kind of goodbye, but not in front of the Tottenham fans. I mean, that AS Monaco news with the team news, that's not a lot. You kind of like 998 on general admission. That's not a lot at all. It's appropriate pricing as well. Maybe some are saying that Spurs could learn a little bit from that. But comfortable win against Doncaster. I think better opposition that do better in the final third, make better decisions, more clinical, more creative. Then we may be in a little bit of trouble. But we've got to look at the positives. I think it was dominant generally, played well, rested a few players that we haven't had the luxury of doing in recent years, hence the squad depth. That's what happens here. You bring in a good coach, you sign well, and you're in a position where you can rest and rotate, and we just got it absolutely right in every way, and we're through to round 4, and the most important thing. Talking of round 4, we play Newcastle United. I'd argue that's the toughest draw we could have got. It's tough either way, of course, but I would argue that it is that toughest draw. People say, Harry, surely Liverpool away, but Liverpool will, I think anyway, prioritise, you'd have thought, the Premier League and Champions League, whereas Newcastle have experience of winning this competition last year. I'm not going to say they're all going to go all out for the Carabao Cup, but they're certainly going to treat it seriously, knowing they can win it. That's the difference, I think. But of course, Liverpool away is extremely tough, nonetheless, no doubt about it. Savinho looks like that, for someone saying he's going to stay at City. Interested if he's happy to stay at City if he doesn't get the minutes, so we'll have to see what happens there. A lot of takeover talk. Never like to talk about kind of this because it's kind of A, confusing, but B, it's not relevant unless anything concrete happens, in the words of Fabrizio Romano, Italian journalist himself. But it's difficult to know whether ENIC going or not is a bad thing. I've always been really critical of ENIC. However, things change now? Daniel Levy's gone, and kind of a new structure at the club, new people leading it, different ideas. So we'll have to see. But I don't think ENIC are going anywhere, is all I will say on that one. Good to hear that Luca Williams-Barnett is going to agree, or has agreed terms with his first professional contract. It's very good, very bright player. We've got to nurse him in the right way, something we haven't done with younger players over the last few years. I agree with Frank on Bergvall. I think he's been very good. Interesting, Frank thinks we have to fly at the blocks against Wolves, the team at the bottom of the league, but he's generally correct, though. I mean, no Dominic Solanke or Rando Colomwani is extremely worrying. Is all I would say. Mwani with a dead leg to miss 3 games in all competitions to me is a big concern. Dominic Solanke as well, been told he's constantly going to come back, but hopefully Sarr is okay. I mean, wow, Daniel Levy and his wife barred from going back to the training ground. I mean, that's like, wow, crikey, it's it's extreme. I mean, some people say that's quite horrible, but he done that to Maurizio Pochettino, if you remember. So yeah, take that, taste your own medicine. Be interested to see how that board meeting went without Levy, and I should assume it was a regular meeting, not too much different apart from Levy not being there. But no, not too much apart from that to discuss. There's a lot, but I'm very wary of time. So thank you very much for watching. That's your Spurs News Roundup. Right, the latest top news and mini analysis as always as well. Come back for this. We try and do this most days. Thank you very much. And for now, like, subscribe, and a massive comment. You Spurs.